You litter your mind with what ifs. Wonder if America does what it does best. Made another black boy vanish. Fed him to God.
Now I sing truth against my brown skin. Make valid my hopes, my dreams. Tell myself that I am beautiful, that I am worthy.
My pencil is percussive and it's tap, tap, tapping. My fingers are digging into my desk and I'm shaking. I feel the pressure, my levee breaking. I am going to pee my pants.
George with WGVU Digital Studios here with Andrew Watson.
How's it going?
It's going good, man. Thanks for sitting down with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, tell us a little about yourself, Andrew, and your title. What do you like to be called? Is it like artist, poet, spoken word artist?
I guess poet's fine.
Okay.
I'm from Kalamazoo, originally from Lansing area, but I've been in Kalamazoo for about 7-8 years now. I'm involved in the spoken word slam community in Kalamazoo and in Grand Rapids. We've been performing for about 10 years now. I've been writing for almost 20. So.
Okay.
So my name's Jocelyn. I'm a volunteer teaching artist with the Diatribe. So we go in and we work with a lot of younger students and basically just help them be able to speak their own truths and find that their voice is impactful and valuable.
Fable the poet, Bryce. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
Just keeping busy and trying to do as much as I possibly can.
Okay. Definitely. Who is Fable?
Who is Fable? I am a poet. I am a community advocate. I am the executive director of nonprofit The Diatribe. I'm a writer, a traveling artist, and a fiance.
That's new. I newly minted fiance. That's beautiful, man. 20 years, that's a long time kind of doing this art form. Talk to me a little bit about the first time that you kind of got bit by the bug, or your first set of inspiration that really got you into writing poetry.
I always harken back to my freshman year of high school. I had a really talented English teacher, but we had a unit on Edgar Allan Poe. And like any ninth grader at that time, you're into the dark and gloomy stuff. And
So emo.
Very emo. yeah. Super emo. So we had a unit on poetry, and it was one of the first times I could remember in a long time where I actually was able to write something original and not, put in a lane or like requirements like an essay or something. So I really embraced the freedom there, and like the darker stuff, it's always interesting. It's never boring. I kind of enjoyed the release of writing and that creativity there.
Diatribe. Talk to us a little about what Diatribe is, even what that means, and how it's kind of impacted you in your art.
So the Diatribe's really cool. I am blessed every day that I wake up that I get to be a part of it.
Wow.
It started as just like a cool group of artists. It's still a cool group of artists, but it started out as them just wanting to be able to share their own voices and show that children are deserving of that validity too.
Okay.
And they show that students can find their own value in their voice like on a regular basis. So they go into schools and like mostly in the Grand Rapids area. And they would just work with students and teach them, or they can do assemblies, which is really cool. So the assemblies are nice because it's really fast-paced. You just go in and talk to the students about how you as an artist are able to make your art something that makes you money.
Sure.
You can pay the bills with poetry money,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. And it's nice to be able to show students that there are more than one path in life, and that they don't have to necessarily have what everyone else has, which is really nice.
What is your niche? Like, where do you fit in the broader community?
I like to infuse a lot of humor and sarcasm within my art. And if you've ever been to a poetry reading, whether it's a rambunctious slam-like setting or if it's very traditional coffee house beatnik setting, it's a lot of death and gloom and sad and that's fine. I'm not. It has its place, and that's at a reading. I feel that there's a lot of value in using humor as healing and using sarcasm. I come from a very sarcastic family. My family, during times of tragedy, we used humor and jokes to kind of, it makes things digestible. My humor is my way of healing. And I'm very observational. I think it's fun to talk about the weird quips and social things that we have. If you stop at a four-way, you're gonna see a lot of people picking their noses. Nobody talks about it, but just the weird, the day-to-day things that makes us human.
Sure.
And I feel like if we acknowledge that, then there wouldn't necessarily be as much polarization. It's oh, I do that really embarrassing thing too, or oh, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And there's just the commonality in that.
Who are some of the forerunners, if you will, kind of in our community that have really been a part of bringing kind of spoken word to the forefront in terms of art and in terms of expression here in Grand Rapids?
So Marcel Price, of course, and Kid Kane. Those are the two my personal figureheads for poetry within the community.
Okay.
I think that the work that they do, it speaks in volumes. I mean, Marcel is the youngest Black poet laureate within Grand Rapids.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that his work speaks for itself. And Kid Kane also works with the UICA during Art Prize, and she had her piece Lemonade, which was on display. And I think that they consistently have people coming, Marcel to the Drunken Tour, and Kid to Press and Vibes. And I think that the way that they work within the community makes the community what it is.
So talk to us a little bit about Diatribe, you being the co-founder, how that came to being, and then certainly that's evolved into being the ED, the executive director, and
How the Diatribe came to be. It started years and years ago. A collective of 7 of us decided to put together the first ever blind deaf friendly art prize exhibit. We got $10,000 worth of Braille donated by Michigan State University and made an entire exhibit where if you couldn't see, hear, or hear, you could experience levels of this entire exhibit. All of the murals, all of the poetry were transcribed in text and Braille. It ended up being a ton of kids and students and teachers that came out from all over the state, and a bunch of teachers saying, hey, we want you in our classrooms. We were we are not fit to be in classrooms. We are nightlife entertainers. We are not fit to be teaching artists. But they kept pushing to have us in. So it kind of snowballed after that. 5-6 years later, we're at where we are now. We work with nearly 20 schools a year, doing assemblies, after school programs, and just a ton of different workshops. Now we do workshops that address gentrification in our city, teach kids about fair housing and about how where they live impacts their quality of education.
Sure.
And now we're just continuing to try to grow until we get to the point of where we have an after school space on the southeast side, and continue to make everything around us as much of a cultural hub in Grand Rapids as possible.
Yeah, so poetry and prose and writing in that way has always been about telling stories, but also giving people kind of an inside look or challenging them, if you will, on their thought as it pertains to things that we're dealing with socially, politically, and kind of in our climate. You have a very important piece called An Open Letter to Grand Rapids. Tell us about that piece, how that came to be, and what has it done for you in terms of your voice in the community?
I think the reason that piece is important to me and what it does for me, and I feel like the way that I can aid the community by reading that piece, is there's a lot of different issues that are going on that people know about, but I feel like people don't zoom out and see the big picture. For example, there's a lot of people that are passionate about environmentalism and the things going on around us, but a lot of people don't realize, all right, who are the people that are creating these issues? And realize that the people who are suffering from those creating these issues do not look like the people creating the problem. So for example, in the southeast side, there's kids testing with lead levels higher than people in Flint. The only difference is it's not from contaminated water, it's from contaminated walls. People don't talk about the issues historically with Plaster Creek. People don't talk about the kids in the 49507 having higher asthma rates than almost anywhere in the region. And this community already faces or is trying to ward off things like gentrification. Their the housing market blowing up, and people from the outside moving in and taking everything that this neighborhood has always cherished. And I feel like that piece addresses things that aren't talked about enough.
Okay. So at the end of the day, what do you want to be said for you, who you are as Marcel Price, but also as Fable the poet, and kind of your work and your influence?
That's a tough question. I hope that I just continue to build things that live longer than myself. To build things that other people can use for years and years and years down the road, and that people continue to see as valuable and helpful, and continue to lift up artists so that they can go way farther than I ever did.
My dreams tell myself that I am beautiful, that I am worthy, that I am allowed to grow. And that's it.
Oh, come through!
Yeah.
Love it.
Thanks.
That's dope.
Thank you so much.
I, chest proudly puffed out, reached out in my vulnerability, and the revolution was born.
Wizard.
Can you say on PBS? Okay. I wanted to give you enough. I can do something else if you
Oh,
want.
that's good. That's really good.
Why was the blood on his hand? It was probably ketchup. Give him the death penalty. Man, why did I read the comment section? Now where do I set my fear? Over here, over there, on the floor, with the gun.
Yeah, that's really good. Wow.
Yeah. Sit with that for a minute.
Thank you.